Hello, guys, and welcome to Serie A Matchday 14. We have midweek games after a very interesting, thrilling weekend. Hello, Daniele Fisichella.
Ciao, ciao, ciao. It's been the weekends of the derbies, Derby della Capitale, Derby d'Italia. None of them especially entertaining, especially spectacular, if you like. Most of the times the big matches in Italy are like this, are a little bit cagey, especially after a midweek game in the Cup. Lazio won deservedly, I think. Juventus won deservedly, and Napoli are keep running on their own to the top of the table.
Indeed, so let's try to analyze these midweek games. Still 2 match days before the stop, before the World Cup in Italy. So guys, remember to comment the video with us. Of course, we want to know your opinion. And don't forget, press the like and subscribe to keep enjoying us. And now let's go on with the show. If someone is not going to be happy with the competition being stopped for the World Cup are Napoli fans, that's for sure, because their team is flying, winning every single game, 9 consecutive victories in Serie A, and having a tough calendar. They were able to beat Roma away, to beat Milan away, and Dani at the weekend beat Atalanta away, even conceding before Empoli. This one, the next rival is going to be Udinese, so nothing that Napoli can drop points in this game.
And they beat Atalanta away without Kvaratskhelia, who was injured and is doubtful for this one. No matter who plays, they put Elmas, the Macedonian, on. He scored. He took his chances really, really well. And there is that phenomenon that is AC Milan. It's like a sentence. Una sentenza in Italy. You can at the moment, his goal streak is phenomenal, 6 in the last 4. And Napoli found Atalanta out. Atalanta played well, played aggressively, tried to counter press them, but Napoli were so good at moving the ball away. And this is, again, a Napoli side, 9 consecutive win. They lost against Liverpool before, but they put that aside. And they are just unstoppable at the moment for the way they manage the rotation. So credit to Spalletti for the way they play, for the way they move the ball. They can play short passes, long passes, stretch the defenses. They are really, really in good form. 2-1. It could have been more in the end. Now they host Empoli, who they lost to last season at home in a very freakish circumstance, 1-0. Empoli won at the weekend, by the way, against Sassuolo, creating enough chances. Probably should have scored a couple in the end, but a good goal taken by Baldanzi. Is a very young group of players, this Empoli side, and now they are mid-table, and I think they are more where they should belong because the quality is there. If you also look at the players up front with Satriano, with Lammers, with Destro himself, although he's not scoring many goals. This is an Empoli side that I think is going to go to the Maradona, not necessarily needing the 3 points, so they're not desperate, but probably going to give Napoli a good game. Napoli is a scoring machine. They scored 52 goals in 19 games so far between all the competitions. Let's see if Kvaratskhelia is back. Look at the prices for Napoli to win. So low. I'm going to go for goals here. Over 1.5 goals in the first half. So 2 goals or more in the first half and you win 2. So double your stake.
We have Israel telling us Asian handicap minus 1.5 for Napoli.
It could be. No? I mean, it is a midweek game. The midweek game could be tricky sometimes. Look, last time Napoli played midweek, they drew 1-1 against Lecce, but that was only match day 2. I think Napoli wins no matter what. Maybe you can go Napoli and over 2.5 goals in this case. Atalanta -1. I'm always a little bit reluctant, although it is true. I mean, there should be no match with them.
Last season, Empoli won both games.
1-0.
Yeah, we can check. We were checking before the head-to-head between these two teams. And hello, by the way, we have people from Thailand, Katsanova, already in the morning of Monday, actually, or in the lunchtime in Thailand, people from California in the dinner time of Sunday. So across all the different time zones, hello, everyone. Nice to see you here and to enjoy, of course, Serie A. Well, from Napoli, let's go to Spezia, only 3 points above relegation. They lost to Milan. Finally, they scored 1 goal away, at least. Let's see the positive
Maldini, the son of Maldini, at San Siro against his dad, didn't celebrate. What a great goal, by the way.
But the team lost again when they are playing at home. Though Spezia is a little bit stronger, only 1 defeat. It was against Fiorentina, so perhaps they can harm Udinese. Danny, they are also in a really bad run of fixtures. Last 5 games, 4 defeats. 4 draws, 1 defeat.
And only 4 goals scored for Udinese, who have kind of almost stopped running a little bit while they started so well. They were so fit. Maybe slowly they are returning a little bit more to the standard form. But nonetheless, I mean, a very, very good start of the season for Udinese. Who are 8th in the table. I think 1 point behind Inter, so still very, very good for a team that perhaps hasn't strengthened too much in the summer. Udinese, I mean, the price for Udinese to win here, it is appealing. But Spezia, remember what we said in previous videos, they're trying to focus on winning at home, winning the winnables. And so far at home, against teams of their caliber or not against the top teams, they've always scored. They picked up all the points. Sometimes they score even to, the likes against Sampdoria, likes against Empoli, Sassuolo, Bologna. So don't underestimate them. Actually, against Milan, they had a very good game plan, I would say. They were very good on the ball. As I mentioned before, goal from Daniel Maldini. Zola had a massive chances in the first half. In the end, they scored because Milan obviously got the better players, and Giroud did a great bicycle kick and scored on the half volley to get Milan the 3 points. But don't underestimate the Spezia. By the way, Gotti, the manager of Spezia, is the former manager of Udinese, so a little bit of sentimental things for him. It's difficult here because they could pick up points, I think, Spezia, especially against a Udinese that is not in great form. I'm going to go for both to score, which pays very well, I think, on Oddspedia. If you check 186, considering Spezia hasn't scored many, but they score all their goals but one at home at the Lo Stadio Pico. So 186 here.
Even the draw could be appealing. We have people from Malaysia, from Holland, from Nigeria, all over the world.
Well done.
Yes, well done. Next game, Cremonese, Milan. You just mentioned how Milan was able to beat Spezia, 6 points away from Napoli. Last 6 Serie A games, 5 victories. Only 1 defeat against Torino, and Cremonese, Danny, still in relegation spots, is still no victories, but the truth is that they can score and they can draw games, that's for sure, because they are getting so many draws, 6 draws, 7 defeats in this area.
Yeah, and they remain the only team alongside Lecce still without a win in the top 5 divisions in Europe. But I don't know how Lecce are doing at the moment. I know very well. But Cremonese, bad. They lost the weekend, of course. And the Cremonese at the weekend, they went to Salernitana. They scored 2, and I think they deserve the point. What a great goal from Okereke in the first half. In the second half, missed the penalty, retaken by Ciofani, missed again, scored. It is a team that I said before doesn't get trashed, apart from when they lost to Lazio 4-0, to Napoli 4-1, but that's understandable, especially when they travel, when they go away, they don't get trashed. They often scored. They score against Fiorentina, they score against Napoli, they score against Inter, they score, of course, in the last games against Salernitana. So they have a game plan. Sometimes it doesn't work very well because of the quality of the players, but they like to keep the ball, positional, possessional football. And they play against a Milan side that against Spezia, they look like a side that played every 3 days, which is what they've done. So before and after these 2 important Champions League games against Dinamo Zagreb and Salzburg, the performances have not been very good. They lost at Torino. They were drawing against Spezia. In the end, they won because of the turnover. So they kept, against Torino, they kept out Ben Nasser for most of the game, and they weren't very good on the ball. Against Spezia, they kept out Tonali for most of the game. As soon as they came on, the game completely changed. If they play with Ben Nasser and Tonali midfield all the time, they are way above the majority of the team, and they are a match for Napoli. When they start making changes in midfield, that's what the problem is, because the game is not that fluid. Plus, you have to consider all the injuries they got in defense. Kjaer, Florenzi, Calabria. I mean, this makes the formation a little bit difficult for Pioli, which I think for this one are gonna make more changes. So we're gonna see the likes of Dest, Thio, Vranks, all the young players. Then Milan about, so there are gonna be changes. Probably the Catelar starting from the first half, still waiting from a good performance for him, really. As I said, Cremonese doesn't look like a team that they're gonna get thrashed. They might lose, but they're gonna be in the game. And I like the Asian handicap here for Cremonese plus 125, which pays well. 179. That means if Milan wins by 1 goal margin, you win half a stake. That's how the Asian line works. You win half a stake. If they draw, of course, you win. If Cremonese wins, you win. So even with a 2-1 win for Milan, 3-2-1 for Milan, 1-0 win for Milan, you're still winning half your stake with this Asian line.
All right. Over 2.5 goals or both teams to score are suggestions. Danny, could be an option, no? Because Cremonese, they can score.
Yeah, of course. And Milan this year, I think in Serie A, they only kept 3 clean sheets. Last season, they kept 17. Still without Magnan. We'll see it in 2023. Tataruzano, goalkeeping and handling and kicking. It's not the best.
Okay. People from Ghana, from Australia,
right.
from Africa. Wow. Next one. Let's go to the Lecce, Atalanta. Another defeat for Atalanta at home, but score is amazing in this Serie A. All victories, but 1 draw. And they are playing against Lecce, that they are 3 points above relegation. 6 winless games, Danny, for the team from La Puglia.
For Lecce, for the New Brony side, wins come very, very, very expensive. They do find it hard, really, to score more than 2 goals. The last time they did it was when they won a Salernitana. They won 2-1. But against Udinese, another very good performance on a Friday night. They went there, took the lead with Colombo, seems to score a lot of goals when he plays away from home. Another very good taken goal after the one he scored at Maradona. And Lecce is a team that spends a lot of time in their own half. They're a counter-attacking team. They still play with 3 up front, though, with Banda, Cisse, Strefezza. Sometimes they make, obviously, a few changes. Gonzalez in midfield. It's a solid team. It's a team that it's not very hard to beat, and they do find the goals. Even against Juventus the previous week, they hit the post at the end. They could have won. They could have at least scored. It was 1-0 for Juve. Again, a team, as I mentioned many times, they score against Roma, score against Inter, score against Fiorentina. So when they go against the top teams, they often nick a goal and they are hard to break. Atalanta, still a very good start of the season. They were inferior to Napoli, but the options for Gasperini on the bench and to rotate are a lot. I was looking at the bench of Atalanta against Napoli. Deron, Boga, Zapata. They still got Muriel out, Malinowski. So the material at disposal of Gasperini is very good, and he's been really good at improving some of the players, giving a lot of stars to Lukman, already 6 goals in Serie A. I think he's changing. We saw a very cautious Atalanta initially, but now he's an Atalanta that I think they're finding the stride a little bit more. So no doubt about we're going to see more goals from them going forward. The defense form has never been the forte of Atalanta. Let's see if they found a better balance this season. I still think Lecce can score in this one, and I like the both to score here. 190.
All right. Mili is going for over 1.5 goals in the first half.
Yeah.
So as well could be.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know.
Going for goals, at least we expect goals as well in this Lecce Atalanta. Yes. Not sure if we will see many goals in the next one in the Mapei Stadium. Sassuolo Roma, you mentioned at the beginning, defeat for the Giallorossi. There got a defensive mistake, by the way, to allow Felipe Anderson to score the goal. Oh my God, Mourinho should be very angry. Yes, right, Danny? The one who made the mistake. So they already lost 4 games, Roma, this season. When they are playing away, they win recently, actually, 4 away victories in a row. They are losing these really short margin games at the Olimpico against big teams. And Sassuolo, then in the middle of the table, not particularly impressive in this season.
No, let's start with Roma. They lost a game because of mistake. It was a very bad derby, and not very well played by neither of the two teams. despite there were a lot of his absences, obviously without Dybala, without Wijnaldum, without Immobile, without Milinkovic-Savic, without Spinazzola as well, what you can expect. I mean, the quality wasn't there, but yeah, Lazio capitalized on the only mistake that Roma did, and then they defended with bodies on the line, with the very low blocks. It wasn't spectacular at all. Roma hit the bar with Zaniolo, so they could really have a lot of regrets for a game, really they should not have lost. And it's always the same problem. They lose the big games. They lost against Napoli, lost against Lazio, lost against Atalanta. They didn't deserve to lose this one. Won against Inter, against Juventus away. They drew, but the first half was very, very poor. They lost against Betis, if you want to call it a big game as well. So I think the problem with Roma is that since Dybala got injured, the light went off. It's like I got a lamp here. This is Roma with Dybala. This is Roma without Dybala. You can see it's a bit dimmer. Now it's a little bit more light. That's what happened with Roma, if you like. They're not scoring. They're not creating. Abraham looks a shadow of himself. Only 3 games, 3 goals so far this season. The partnership with Zaniolo, I'm not sure is the best one. Bellotti come on. Is not maybe used to play in the system. It's difficult. It's difficult for Roma really to create very good chances, and when they do create them, they don't take them. So the way they play hasn't improved since last season. There are a lot of caveats, a lot of excuses. The belief that the team is stronger is there, thanks to Mourinho, more character. But yeah, obviously they're miles away, Milan and Napoli at the moment. Sassuolo, without Berardi, without Traoré, without De Frel, they're not a scoring team without these three players. Against Empoli, they had a couple of chances, yes, with Pinamonti, but you can tell they're not quite the same team as last season. They will be saved, of course, no doubt about it, but I don't think we're going to see a lot, at least until Christmas. But I think this could be tricky for Roma. The man will win it, this one. So actually the price for Roma to win is very good. But I'm going to go for a Asian handicap plus 0.25 for Sassuolo in the second half, 190, which means if they draw the second half, you win half your stake. It leaves you a lot of options because Roma could score a couple in the first half, and then it's a draw in the second half, and you're still winning your stake.
Perhaps a low-scoring game, Danny. EM was telling us both teams to score. No, for instance, could be an option.
Potentially, although Roma's defense away has not been great recently. They conceded against Verona, they conceded against Inter, they conceded in Finland against Helsinki. There might be some rotations as well there.
Abraham to hit the post in both halves.
Roma hit the post already 10 times, posted the bar 10 times in Serie A. They're the top for this particular classification, which is not great.
In the derby was Zaniolo, the one who hit the bar. Next game, Fiorentina Salernitana, 4 consecutive victories for Fiorentina in all competitions. So perhaps they turn finally the corner until after a very, very slow start of the season. They beat Samp away, also Spezia away. Now Artemio Franchi. But Danny, we are always saying the same thing. This competitive always, and they are getting points here and there.
Yes, I mean Salernitana, they are 9th on the table. They let it slip really against Cremonese. They were 2-1 up, but again, it's a team that it's got a completely different mindset compared to last year when they were pinned down in their half and conceded a lot of goals. This time, actually, Salernitana play well in the opposition half, keep the ball well, the recovery high. They got quality players from the likes of Mazzocchi to Candreva to Piontek, Dia, Maggiore, Koulibaly. So these are all experienced players with good qualities there. They won a Lazio the last away trip, 3 goals scored. They did a very good game against Juventus. They scored only 6 goals away, but again, it is a team that doesn't get trashed. Even when they play Inter a few weeks ago, it was only 2-0 for Inter. Salernitana really did a good account of themselves. And Fiorentina, 4 wins in a row, as you mentioned, always scoring 2 goals or more. I think something has changed, something has clicked. They found a little bit of a better balance there and more confidence. Finally, a good display for the right back Dodo, who they got from Shakhtar. I think was a very important piece of the jigsaw. I think if they understand who needs to play up front, with Kwame a little bit far wide, and then is between Cabral and Jovic, I think the rotations are not now. Obviously, they haven't got Europe to negotiate with anymore because they qualified for the next round of the Conference League. I think their mind will be a little bit lighter. Look, the odds for Fiorentina to win are good because last year Fiorentina were the third best team playing at home, and often they were winning half-time and full-time. But here I like the goals more, really. If you need to squeeze some value. Over 2.25 goals, 203. So if there are 3 goals or more into the game, you win. Only 3 goals, you win half your stake. More than 3 goals, you win 203.
Good, actually. Fiorentina to win and over 2.5 goals. And Sali is telling us that Salernitana is a miracle team indeed with Nicola on the bench. They did a
completely changed.
Miracle last season. Completely changed, very competitive. A team that should be in Serie B, according to what we saw in the first half of last season. Now they are, imagine, 9th in the standings in this Serie A. Well, another miracle team so far is Bologna. In my opinion, Inter Bologna, they've completely changed with the new manager. Now they are in the middle of the table, 3 consecutive victories, the last one against Torino. 10 points away from relegation. So, Danny, I guess is going to be a tough test for Inter, an Inter that they have to bounce back after the defeat in Derby d'Italia out of the European spots. How did you see that game against Juve?
I saw an Inter that once again gets beaten this season in the big games. They've already lost 5 games in Italy against oppositions better them in the table, including Udinese when they were flying. An Inter that had a lot of chances in the first half but didn't take them. This is something that we already seen. And in the Inter that in the end, after they conceded the first goal, they went a little bit flat. Juventus had a goal disallowed for a marginal handball from Danilo, so they could have really closed the game earlier. And an Inter that away from home concede far too many goals. They already conceded 16. And it's all like they fought. I think they had almost the belief that they were better than Juventus, so they didn't have to sometimes apply them too much. Okay, probably it's only a perception. I know that these games are very tense, are always decided by a small margin. But, it is an Inter that in such a big game that they really couldn't afford to lose because they are 13 points behind Napoli. You would expect them to do a little more in the second half after having good chances in the first half. Really disappointing for Inter. I think the lapses of concentrations, there have been far too many this season for a team that wants to win the Scudetto and now 13 points behind. It's really, really difficult. Although after the World Cup, the first game is Inter Napoli, so maybe it's like in or out that one, but it could be really tricky. Again, as I said, Inter are conceding 19 goals in Serie A. The mechanism in defense sometimes they don't work really well. Bologna, impressive, first wins on the bounce. Second win coming from behind after the one at Monza. They won from behind against Torino. And credit to Thiago Motta for making the right subs in the second half. He brought in Vignato, which barely saw. Is a very small, diminutive, skillful player, and he changed the game. He brought in Orsolini again, and he scored again. Is a more of an attacking team, Bologna, really. Even if they concede, they still keep playing. I like them. Arnautovic was back for this one, didn't score, but helped the play a lot. And they got also Zirkzee in the bench. I think now we are seeing more of a Thiago Motta side. Let's not forget Thiago Motta last season, they saved Spezia, which was, I think, the real miracle of Serie A. He's a young manager. He's a former Inter player, by the way, won the triplete there. So he's still learning, I think, in Serie A. But I think they're going to come out fighting. Both to score I like, but I'm going to leave it for my ACCA, which is very, very good odds. I'm going to go for a national handicap plus 1.5 for Bologna, 203. Which basically is a great double chance. So if Inter wins by 1 goal margin, you still win 203. Inter needs to win to 2 goal margin for you to lose the stake. I think it's going to be a close game.
Good one. Indeed, Martinez anytime scorer. Perhaps this is a bit risky, no? Because we know that Lautaro is a striker of strikes, and when
Yes, and he has a
scored
score in
one,
3, so he might not score until the World Cup, Israel. You know, if
exactly.
Lautaro is goal, then you don't know where he's gone, and then at some point starts again.
And we have Ankur very angry with Dumfries after
Big miss. You're not the only one, Ankur.
after the game against
Yeah.
Juve. By the way, Serie A is coming back on the 4th of January. Is when we are going to say that Inter Napoli is a big stop, parenthesis, before the World Cup. Next game, Danny, Torino, Sampdoria. Sampdoria is still in trouble, penultimate in the standings, another defeat, this time against Fiorentina. Perhaps they target more the next game against Lecce, but still they have to go to Torino and grab some points. Torino, they lost to Bologna, but they were coming from 2 consecutive victories, Danny.
Yeah, a bit disappointing for Torino because they seem to concede easy goals, especially when they travel, and so they did at Bologna. They had the game pretty much controlled on the 1-0, few half chances as well with Caramo. Then they switched off and they conceded 2 against Bologna. So they should be disappointing after such a very good performance against Milan and Sampdoria. I mean, things haven't really improved under under Stankovic, I would say. Giampaolo had a point per game ratio of 0.37. Stankovic has a point game ratio of 0.80. This is why they're never going to get saved. Again, a pathetic performance against Fiorentina. Do they have goals in them? I think they do. I think the quality is still there, but they are like in this downward spiral. So it's very difficult to really back them. Although the price for them to win is great, even the draw 405, which could be likely, considering that Torino is not a team that score loads and loads of goals. Now, actually, they got also the injury of Pietro Pellegrini to deal with. Over 2.25 goals here. I like it. 189. Torino is aggressive. They create chances. They press very high. They couldn't get Sampdoria to make a few mistakes. So over 2.25 goals, 189. Only 2 goals in the game. You lose half your stake.
All right. By consensus here, we have Salim or Mili going for Torino to win, for example. This game is going to be played on Wednesday, and we still have 2 more games to be played on Thursday. Verona, Juve is our next one. Verona is 10 points away from Napoli. Perhaps they can still believe in the Scudetto. Why not? Especially with perhaps Pogba, Chiesa coming back after the World Cup. Well, Chiesa is already there. After that victory in the derby was 4 consecutive victories, Danny, for Juve, and now they should win this one because Verona, they are awful 8 consecutive defeats now.
Juventus won the 4th game without conceding, and they are the best defense in Serie A. I think it's too early to say that the crisis is over and they are completely cured. Look at the way they played in the Champions League. 5 defeats against PSG. They put up a fight, but they were second best. Obviously, in Italy, you don't play PSG every week. You play teams that are much weaker than them, that they can't score goals, like the likes, of course, of Verona. Against Inter, in the first half, they were lucky. Inter missed a few chances, but then they had this belief, this anger, and also a good tactical plan from Allegri. He knew he could score on the counter and also from set pieces, and that's what obviously Juventus did, considering also they got that goal disallowed. Still entered at chances. Juventus hit the post. In the end, they were a deserved win. With Juve, I mean, they got a lot of absences, of course. The likes of Di Maria just come back. Vlahovic was out. Pogba is out. Chiesa will probably see the best Chiesa in the new year, etc. Without Paredes, etc. And now, out of necessity, the young players, Miretti, Fagioli, we saw also Ealing, they are playing much more. And they're showing perhaps that they care more about Juventus. They put more of a fight. They are more passionate. And that's obviously, it's great for Juve. Not only with the young players, Juve can win something this season, but it helps and it makes the squad longer. Verona, another defeat against Monza. They were second best. Monza could score at least 2 or 3 in the first half. It is a team that really struggles in terms of quality and really scoring goals. I mean, we said it time and time again. I'm going to repeat myself. When you lose your 3 best strikers in the summer, Simeone, Caprari, and Barak, and you don't replace them with proven goal scorers, because neither Piccoli or Henry or Lasagna was scored in, I don't know, 3-4 years. I mean, I forgot the last time Lasagna scored a goal. They really can step up. It's difficult. It's a team that lacks quality in every single department. Another red card, another sent off for Verona after the one against Roma. So sometimes also they shoot themselves on the foot as well. So they're going to be without Magnani for this one. Look at the price for Juve to win,
Very good.
because of course, considering everything they've been through in the last 2 years, Juventus with Pirlo first and Allegri, and now the book is obviously don't trust Juventus to win anywhere. But this should be almost a safe bet, and I'm gonna go for Juventus to win here 197. I think it's too good to be overlooked.
Is very good indeed. Although Juve, they are not good when they are playing away. We have Corello here saying, I don't trust Juve. 2 victories, 2 draws, and 2 defeats. They are 9th in the standings when they are playing away,
Yeah,
but the
true.
price is very good indeed. Perhaps this Juve is still on time to fight for the Scudetto next World Cup. So if they win these 2 games, why not? Why not? They go into the break and there will be some hope also because the Champions League is over for them.
Yeah.
And talking about Lazio, the last game is Lazio Monza, standings after that great victory in the derby. Remember that they're playing as at home, although the Olympico is always home. They lost 1-3 against Salernitana. Danny, this Monza their victory against Verona and now 7 points away from relegation.
Yeah, and they always win. They won 4 games, all 2-0. So they can score and shut the door. I think they picked themselves up really well after the disappointing defeat against Bologna. They deserve to win, create chances, more players in the score sheet this season. So very good game management from Raffaele Palladino. And Lazio, I analyzed it before. They won a game really by the smallest margin. Not playing spectacular football at all after the disappointing night in Rotterdam against Feyenoord, where they were overwhelmed by the intensity of Feyenoord. But Sarri says very openly that he hates playing on a first day. He doesn't like the Europa League. He doesn't like the Conference League. It's very strange for a manager who has won it with Chelsea to really despise playing the Europa League or the Conference League. But he seems to find issue with absolutely everything, and also with Feyenoord not playing in the Dutch league before them. I mean, seriously, sometimes this man can bring so many excuses. Once is the pitch, once I remember once he said he doesn't like playing at 6 p.m. because in Italy there is a penombra, so the sun is going down, so it's half cold, half hot. I mean, seriously. But they won the derby, so I mean he's the hero now. They didn't play well, by the way. After they scored, there was like almost an assault at Fortapash. Fortapash was the Lazio goal. Roma hit the bar. Not great, but they were without Immobile. They were without Milinkovic-Savic. We are the 2 best players, and we're probably gonna see them this against Monza. Milinkovic-Savic for sure because he was suspended. Immobile was on the bench. I think we'll see at least 30 minutes of him. And Lazio at home, they score 2 or more. That's the story of the season so far. I think the best scorer at home after Napoli. They always score 2 or more. Also in Europe, 2 against Sturm Graz, 2 against Midtjylland, 4 against Feyenoord. I think they're going to score here. Monza, they're going to contribute probably to the scoring. Over 2.75 goals, so it could be a game of 3 goals and more. 189.
So the people here going for Lazio and goals, and the victory only for Lazio is good actually. 1.76 is not bad at all for the 3rd in the standings against a newly promoted team. And perhaps also we see goals, and we have EM also telling. Remember to press the like button, of course, to push a little bit more and make this channel even bigger. And don't forget to tell us your tips. Danny, before we see your safe bet, your preferred bet, your loved one for these midweek games.
Okay, the best bet for me here is Verona Juventus under 3.5 goals, which pays 137. I think it's going to be a Juventus win. So you might even want to couple it with, I don't know, Juve win and under 4.5 goals if you like. But I like Verona Juventus under 3.5 goals, 137.
All right. And your ACCA?
3 games. Milan win a Cremona. Fiorentina Salernitana over 2.5 goals. Inter Bologna, both teams to score. Total odds 571.
Treble to finish this video. Thank you, Danny. Thanks everyone also for following with us the Serie A. We still have one more video, of course, this week before we look into the World Cup. See you, Danny.
Ciao.
Thank you.
Enjoy.